Alright. What do you say? Get this started. Let me pop that up for a sec, because I gotta turn it. Oh my god, this music is so loud. I didn't realize how loud I had it. I apologize. What's up, everyone? You're looking at a double legend now. That's right. I beat Ultima Weapon Ultimate. Let me go to character. Nope. Go to character configuration. Let me turn on the title. Let me actually get the title up on screen. Sort by name. This one is the Ultimate Legend. There we go. I beat Ultima Weapon. I gotta do the title because Gunbreaker has no weapon. Come on, Square. Get on it. I'm still wearing my T weapon because there's no Gunbreaker weapon for Ultima Weapon. That's so stupid. Anyway. When I beat the Epic of Alexander, I uploaded a video of it, and then just for funsies, I wanted to just like do a stream going, hey, I know a lot of people that I hang out with don't do endgame rating. They find this hard to follow. I want to break it down for them. Yeah, they can go watch there's like 75,000 guides online on how to beat these fights, but I still have fun talking about it myself. I'm narcissistic, what can I say? So I want to talk about UWU. Now, if you watched my T breakdown video and you know anything about T, you might have noticed that I missed a couple of things to explain. There's so much to go over in an ultimate fight that naturally I'm just gonna miss some things. And like, there's so many things in an ultimate fight that once you know how to do the fight, there are some things you just literally, while they're technically a mechanic, you literally do not even think about them anymore. So I just like forgot to mention them. Stuff like throttle in Living Liquid, didn't even mention it. Stuff like how in Ordained, not Motion and Stillness, the beacons with the big black stars and yellow stars in Perfect Alex, I didn't explain like you had to stay within a certain distance of each other because you just don't even think about that kind of stuff anymore. So if you think I missed some things in the Epic of Alexander Ultimate, oh my god, am I gonna miss some things here in UWU. UWU, progging through it was a fucking blur. Whereas with T, I did it with a whole bunch of people who had never beaten the fight before, and it took us a couple months to get through. Going through UWU, I did this with at least 5 people who had beaten the fight before, some of them very recently. At least one additional person who had done about half of the fight before, so like everyone pretty much already knew what they were doing except for me, and it just kind of like blasted through because damage checks aren't a thing anymore. When Shadowbringers rescaled a lot of damage calculations, you are so much more powerful now at level 70 than you were back in Stormblood. So enraged checks don't matter anymore. You skip a whole bunch of mechanics, and also UWU Prog was just intensely cursed from start to finish. We lost several days due to people losing power, people losing internet, people being sick, taking time off for the new patch. So like, it only took us about a month to get through it, but it was such a disaster. We blasted through it. We're gonna see how much of this fight I retained and can actually explain. So it's gonna be a fun experiment. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kick down this volume as I bring up the chat, just in case anyone has any questions. Let me and then let me bring up the video in question that we'll be looking at today. Excuse me. So let's see. Throw this up. Want to get rid of that. And let's get Garuda's theme going here on twitch.tv/cowbox. So, the fight opens up with Garuda. Much like... I'm sorry, I didn't actually listen to this song ahead of time. I didn't realize the actual Primals version of this song had some guy just talking at the start. You for real, dog? I didn't actually listen to this ahead of time. I just pulled it up on YouTube, like clicked through real quick. I was like, yep, that's Garuda's theme. And then just loaded it up. Alright, well that's gonna get a little distracting every 4 minutes, but we'll make do. I just lost my entire train of thought. Right, so, in the Epic of Alexander, you know, the fight progressed. It was like Living Liquid, Brute Justice Cruise Chaser, Alex, Prime, and then Perfect Alex. It's kind of the same thing here with Ultima Weapon Ultimate. It's going to start with Garuda, and then we're going to go through a whole bunch of primals before we get to the weapon itself. So right out the gate, we are going to do... I lost my window. There we go. We're going to open up with Garuda. Garuda is not a particularly challenging part of the fight. It's a lot of the work in Garuda is pretty much offloaded on me, specifically as the off tank. So as soon as the fight starts, I need to prepare. We all position ourselves. Both the healers are going to stand over here. I'm standing between Garuda and the healers because pretty early she's going to target a random healer with this green marker. This is Mistral Shriek. At the same time, she's casting Slipstream. This is just a conal AoE in front of her that you can just walk out of. So, like, just don't be in front of her when you see this. Mistral Shriek is a very heavy-hitting attack. It needs to be taken by a tank. So the tank needs to stand between Garuda and the healer. So Mistral Shriek goes off. Right there. That was Mistral Shriek. Mistral Song, I guess you could call it. And the additional thing with Mistral Shriek is that whichever player it hits first, wherever that player was standing, a tornado is going to appear where they're standing. So there's this big green tornado now that we want to make sure we're not standing in. So we all scoot out over this way. Right after scooting out, all of these plumes are going to appear. If you've ever done like Garuda normal, Garuda extreme, whatever, you've probably seen these plumes. You have no idea what they actually do because they die in 2 seconds. They're going to die pretty quick here, but there's 2 types of plumes. There's the spiny plume, which always spawns right here, and there's the satin plumes that all spawn way outside, and they all tether to a random player. Pretty soon they'll all scoot in, so we don't need to move. Everyone's just going to stay here. The spiny plume is not tethered to anyone yet. It tethers to the first person to hit it. I hit it first, so it is now tethered to me because it's about to do several... it's going to do 2 pretty heavy hitting attacks. That's pretty much going to delete any other player if it hits them. At the same time as I'm getting hit, like, you're not going to see a cast bar of, like, what's hitting me. Just at some point there, I've already gotten hit by one. There. So, both me and my co-tank both got hit. She got hit by Garuda herself. At this point, Garuda has a untelegraphed tank buster. It just hits her, bing, bang, boom, done. I got hit by the spiny plume, which gives me 1 stack of thermal low. This is very important. I need 2 of these. If we kill the spiny plume too fast, we have to wipe because we don't have enough to work with. So we just burn down the rest of these plumes, taking great care to, with our overpowered level 70 selves, not kill the spiny plume. Something that's going to be hard to convey in this video is that whenever Garuda jumps away, right there, you hear a shriek. Like, as she jumps up, you hear her scream. Whenever you hear that scream... Okay, hold on. I'm going to very quickly see... Oh, whatever. I'm just gonna... Garuda theme. We're pulling up the OG Garuda theme now, because I can't listen to that guy talking in my ears. I'm trying to explain this. Oh my god. That's fine. Go listen to the Primal's version of the Garuda theme. It's really good. I'm gonna loop this real quick. So yeah. Whenever Garuda jumps up off screen, and several times when it's not specifically Garuda, but something else that'll be coming up later, you hear her scream. Whenever you hear that scream, that means wherever you and every other player is standing is going to get targeted by a small AoE. So there's the Feather Rain AoEs. So the scream is the indicator to just move out of the way. So at this point, I've been hit a second time by the Spiny Plume. Let me just check my audio levels real quick since I wasn't ready to audio balance this song. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Nope, that was a lot. That should be okay. So, now that I have 2, we're good to kill the Spiny Plume. When you kill the Spiny Plume, it creates a big AoE around it, so you want to get out of that. I guess the earlier move is Mistral Song. I apologize. Mistral Shriek is just a raid-wide AoE that is going off right there. As the Spiny Plume explodes, it creates this big-ass orb, this bubble. So this bubble is very interesting. Pretty soon, Garuda is going to be doing a move called Friction, which is an attack that targets a random player of the party. It does splash damage, and whenever it hits a player, they also get a stack of Thermal Low, which is this number 2 debuff that I have. So what Thermal Low is complicated. Whenever you get hit by a wind attack, when you have a stack of Thermal Low, you take less damage, which is good. Generally, that stack is then consumed, it is cleansed, and depending on how big that stack is, it's going to do raid-wide damage to everybody. So, if someone has 1 stack and they get hit by 1 wind attack, they're going to lose that 1 stack, and everyone's going to take a little bit of raid-wide damage. With 2 stacks, they're going to take a lot of raid-wide damage, and with 3 stacks, it's pretty much going to kill the party, so you never want to get 3. So because I have 2, and I'm getting dangerously close to 3, I want to cleanse this stack of 2. So everyone is going to get inside this bubble. I'm going to step in. Oof, there's a big raid-wide that goes off called Super Cyclone. It did about only 11,000 to me, but that's because we were expecting it. So, however, because I cleanse a stack of 2, Garuda now has a new buff. It's called Etherically Charged. It has a stack of 1. This currently does nothing. We'll worry about it a bit later. So, what we're going to do is 3 of us are going to stand just outside of this bubble. Because like I said, Garuda's going to cast Friction. It's going to hit a random player, and it's going to give everyone who gets hit by it a stack of Thermal Low. 5 of us are still standing inside of this bubble, so when we get hit by Friction, we all want to stand super close together because we want to make sure everybody gets hit by it, because all 3 of us here want to gain this 1 stack. The 5 of them inside of this bubble get cleansed immediately. So Super Cyclone goes off a whole bunch. So we get hit by like 5 weak Super Cyclones, plus everyone gets hit by the Friction. And now 3 of us have 1 stack of Thermal Low. Now that 3 of us have this 1 stack, everyone's going to run back out. We're going to get hit by Friction again, and we're all going to gain an additional stack. So now, all of us have at least 1 stack, 3 of us have 2. This bubble isn't going to last much longer. Our ninja is going to scoot in. He's going to cleanse his stack of 2, bringing Garuda's buff number up to 2. We all get healed up because a Super Cyclone of 2 hits quite a bit harder. Our red mage is going to scoot in, cleanse their stack of 2, give Garuda a buff number of 3, and then we all get healed back up. I keep my stack of 2. We have 5 players with 1. We're good. Garuda jumps away. She screams. We all move out of the way for Feather Rain. We come back in. Garuda is casting a raid-wide AoE. Yeah, you cleanse the stack just by getting hit by specific wind attacks. So that bubble will cleanse the stack. And then 1 more attack that is coming up is going to be another way we cleanse these stacks. So Garuda casts a raid-wide AoE, and then she calls down the 2 sisters. If you've ever done Garuda Extreme, you're going to remember these sisters. They spawn here at D and B. They jump away, which is the universal signifier for Feather Rain. So we all move out of the way because everyone... Oh yeah, so real quick, if you get hit by one of these Feather Rain AoEs, it puts a damage over time on you that deals like 15,000 a tick. It's pretty bad. We only at level 70, we only have like 50,000 HP, most of us. So you don't want to get hit by those. When you hear the shriek, you got to get out of the way as fast as possible. So when the sisters jump away, they spawn in 2 random locations. One of them is going to spawn here, at... I don't know why I just said here. Sorry, I started thinking about something else. They spawn in 2 random cardinal locations, so they can spawn either north and west, north and south, north and east, west and east, west and south, like any 2 random cardinal locations. And they're both about to cast Mistral Song, which again is targeting a random healer right over here. The way this is organized is I grab the first one starting from west counterclockwise. So the first thing I do is I look west, and then I look south, and then I look east. I look for whichever one I see first, and I go there. I don't like it when it's here at east, because it's good because it's the closest one, which means I get more uptime here on Garuda, but because I have my entire rotation planned down to how I am disengaging when I need to, I'm just gonna go and just walk away and just like stand here like an idiot while I wait for this Mistral Song to go off. Because normally I'm used to having to sprint all the way over here, all the way back. So I just stand here looking like an idiot. Garuda is casting Wicked Wheel, so we want to get away from this. These 2 sisters are casting Mistral Song. They both go off at the same time. Now remember, whenever Mistral Song hits a player, a tornado is going to spawn at that location. So we want to make sure to not stand in these 2 tornadoes. The rest of the players want to stay here at middle. Us melees are super greedy. We wait here for those tornadoes to go away. And then we're scooting back to middle. Spiny... Oh yeah, so these plumes show up again, this time without the spiny. I explained what the spiny plume did, which is heavy tank busters applying thermal low. I didn't explain what these satin plumes do. If these satin plumes live for too long, they will eventually explode and put every player to sleep, which is very bad, because that sleep lasts like 15 seconds or something absolutely ridiculous. It's pretty much a wipe, because you're about to go get hit by a whole bunch of random bullshit you can no longer avoid. Everyone scoots towards the middle. We start burning these down. The sisters spawn again. One here at east, another one over at west. They're about to put out these 2 tethers called Mesohai. These can be picked up by just whoever walks into it. So like they do target random players, but I can just go pick it up. That's great. Garuda's casting Slipstream, which is again the move that you can just walk out of. It's a conal attack in front of her, just don't be in front of her. So I'm grabbing this tether. Our machinist is grabbing this other tether. He's taking it because he has a stack of thermal low. Thermal high, thermal low. I forget if it's low or high. There's an thermal low and thermal high are both terms used in this fight, and I forget which one's which. We both have a debuff, which means we take less damage from this tether. If someone else who didn't, if Set, our ninja, took this tether, it would kill him because he doesn't have the debuff. He takes more damage from it. But remember, when these debuffs get cleansed, it does raid-wide damage to everybody. So we're going to get hit by this Mesohai tether, which is going to do a bunch of damage to me, plus the raid-wide damage from Leon's 1 debuff, plus the raid-wide damage from my 2 debuff. So we're about to take a whole bunch of damage here. These tethers go off. Boof. Everyone gets chunked way down. Garuda's mad now. Howl Tempest. None shall escape my wrath. Her debuff number went up to 4, which now gives her Woken status. So, whenever a player with a debuff number of 2 for thermal low cleanses their debuff and does that super cyclone attack that hits everybody, it charges Garuda. The first 3 stacks do nothing, it's just a counter that goes up from 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one wakes Garuda. She's now gone Super Saiyan. If you look at her closely, it's kind of hard to tell because they're about to kill her. She's actually glowing blue. Several of her attacks now have additional properties, which we're not going to see because we purposely put off waking her as long as possible so we don't have to deal with those attacks. And also because we're so much more powerful at 70 than we would have been in Stormblood that we can just skip a whole bunch of mechanics. So, for example, the untelegraphed tank buster that the main tank was getting hit by now becomes a soak tank buster, so like everybody has to get hit by it. And the Wicked Wheel mechanic that you would have seen right here where she does an AoE around her. Immediately after this, if she's woken, everyone needs to move into the spot that was just hit because she's about to do a big donut around her. So the safe spot is now just like directly under her. So woken primals gain a whole bunch more attacks. They're more deadly, and we want to like put it off as long as we can. But we want to wake them because when you kill a primal that has been woken, they're going to drop this light pillar here that you can see between A and D. What this light pillar is a buff that any player can pick up. Our healer is going to be picking this up. This gives them a buff called Beyond Limits. I'll go over this a bit later. The important thing is we have it. With Garuda down, Ifrit drops into the arena. You didn't see him drop in because he drops on any random cardinal. I heard him drop behind me, so I turned my camera. You can kind of see his shadow over here on the right side of my screen. I don't want to look directly at him, because what's about to happen is he is about to charge straight across the screen, killing anyone in his path, and there's only going to be one safe spot. It's either going to be directly to Ifrit's left, directly to Ifrit's right, or directly to Ifrit's left. It's never going to be where he is standing or across where he's standing. So I want to look perpendicular to the way he's charging and see. Okay, look, I see this radiant plume spawn directly in front of me. That means the only safe spot is directly behind me. So I instantly start going this way. So there he charges across the screen. Radiant plume goes off, and now Ifrit begins. Oh shit, I just closed the wrong video. Ayaku. I closed the video that was teaching me how to play Mahjong that I might look at a bit later. Do not judge me. I hate Mahjong. But also it's weirdly compelling. Anyway, now we're into Ifrit. Ifrit's about to do a big raid wide and change the arena. I'm going to take control of Ifrit. I'll be temporarily main tanking him. Right after his raid wide, he does an attack called Vulcan Burst. This barely does any damage. You can see it did 0 to me. It's already a very weak attack, and then like if everyone gets shields, it does nothing, which is good. So if every player is shielded and the attack does nothing, the secondary effect of this attack, which is big knockback, doesn't actually hit anyone. If someone doesn't have shields, and if someone doesn't pop arm's length like I did, they're going to get kicked back into the wall of the arena, and if you touch the wall of the arena, you die. And that's all there is to it. Right after that, he is about to do a 3 times hitting tank buster. I guess technically you could probably like tank swap all 3 hits of this tank buster, but frankly the smart move is just pop super belide and just immunity your way through this. So I take all 3 hits of this, and my main tank is about to take Ifrit. I shirk, and here comes the big meme about Ifrit. We have nails. If you've ever done Ifrit, if you've done Ifrit normal, if you've done Ifrit hard, if you've done Ifrit extreme, you remember these nails. These nails, we don't have a lot of time to kill them. They're always going to spawn in this bucket formation. So you can see how there's like these 2 that are close together and like 2 that are far away. This orientation can appear in any direction. So like this edge of the bucket that I'm standing in isn't always going to be close to A and D. It could be over here, it could be over here, it's whatever. It's just always going to at least spawn in this formation. I want to identify which side is like the base of the bucket and go there real quick to hit it. We don't want to kill these nails immediately though. While the nails first spawn, this is where they take the most damage. So, at the same time, the off tank, me, and 1 random DPS get tethered together. This is a completely pointless mechanic. I hate it. It's stupid. I actually think it's probably the... No. It's the second least thought out mechanic of the entire thing. Like, it's completely pointless. All this tether does is... it gives both players a damage down and a damage over time. And that... Both of those increase the further apart they are away from each other. So right now it's a 4... because I just randomly got tethered to the fucking machinist who's halfway across the arena, which is where he needs to be. So, like, just due to luck, I just get punished more, which is stupid. Anyway, both of our ranged players go towards the other 2 nails over here, because they're both about to get targeted for Eruption. which is these big-ass AoEs all around them. They're about to get targeted by 4 of these, and they want to bait these across the edges of the arena. The important thing about these eruptions is every nail needs to get hit by 2 eruptions each, because every time a nail is hit by an eruption, it gets bigger. It gets a defense buff too, so now it takes less damage. So we need to hit each nail with 2 of these, which increases the amount of damage we need to deal to it, but we don't want to kill it early, if that makes sense. If you kill it too early, the nails don't get big. We need these nails to be big. So you want to do a bunch of damage to it early to like have to do less damage to it, and then when it gets big and it's harder to kill, then it doesn't require as much effort. Anyway, the point is, once the nail has been hit by 2 eruptions and it's super big, when you kill it, it blows up as it normally does in a Ifrit fight. Everyone gets slapped by a very short vulnerability up, as you usually do. But every time a big nail explodes, Ifrit gains a stack of Etherically Charged. So now he's at 2 because those 2 nails exploded. It is very important that we kill those 2 nails in that specific order. These 2 nails down here at the base of the bucket can die in any order. Those 2 top ones have to die. This one first, this one second, which is very easy to manage and not at all super annoying. So, we kill all 4 nails. Ifrit is now woken. He's gone Super Saiyan. He leaves. Woken affects 2 attacks, 3 attacks. 3 attacks that we just haven't seen yet, because we can't get away with pushing this off later, because the only way for Ifrit to gain stacks is those nails. So we just have to deal with these woken mechanics no matter what. He's immediately going to do a raid wide, and then our tank is going to pull him to the edge of the arena. So here's the first attack affected by Woken status. He's going to cast Inferno Howl. What this does is it targets a random healer. In this case, it looks like it targeted our White Mage. So what Inferno Howl does, if you've ever done Ifrit Extreme, it places a debuff on him called Searing Wind. And let's see if I can catch it right here. Like every 3 or 5 seconds, our White Mage here explodes. It does this huge raid wide around him. If anyone is near this, they get punted pretty far away. You might just get knocked into the wall and die. If Ifrit is not woken, this only lasts 15 seconds. Because he is woken, this is going to last 30 seconds. So our White Mage just has to scoot out there for a long time. At the same time, Ifrit is again casting Eruption, again targeting both ranged players. Because this side of the arena isn't safe, they both have to bait these together and just scoot around the edge of the arena together and come in to join us. The reason we're all working around here on the edge is because now 2 Ifrit clones have just showed up. One here, one here. They always show up at random cardinals. So we want to wait here at an intercardinal because they're about to dash across the arena. Oof. So our White Mage is safe over here. We're safe over here. Those are very wide dashes. Our other healer is targeted by the second Inferno Howl. So now we have two healers both exploding just on the sides of the arena here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that Eruption also... Eruption, it just always targets whoever is the furthest away. So it can be baited throughout the entire fight. Here is the next attack that is affected by Woken status. This is Flaming Crush. It has no cast bar, but you can see this triangle indicator that appears over a random player's head. It'll never target a healer, so y'all want to stack up here. This is an attack where when it hits you, it places a debuff on you, which is a very heavy damage over time. The more people that soak this attack, the shorter that duration is. So if one player takes this alone, that debuff lasts over a minute. Because we're all stacked together, it's going to last 3 seconds, and it's a non-issue. So you see we all get hit. There's the debuff there. It has 2 seconds left on it already. Accursed Flame. And it's gone. So we don't care about it. Ifrit leaves again. This, our Scholar is going to keep exploding, but our White Mage's Searing Wind is going away, so he's free to join us now. But our Scholar needs to stay away from us. 4 Ifrits appear. 1 of them is woken, 3 of them are not. So what's about to happen is all of these are going to dash across the arena in the order that we killed the nails. So if you pay close attention, you can see they're kind of in a bucket formation, just like the nails. So like there's these 2 close together, these 2 far apart. Because we killed this nail first, this is going to be the one that dashes first, this is going to be the one that dashes second, and then these 2 can dash in whatever order. It doesn't matter because they take so long to dash, we're already well out of the way. So that first one goes off. And the direction we're going to run to is determined by where this Woken Ifrit is, because this is the 3rd attack that is affected by Woken status. When a Woken Ifrit dashes across the arena, as you'll see here in a second. So the Woken one dashes, we wait a sec, because he has an Afterburner, which is an additional cross attack. So because he dashed straight across this way, which is from, let me get my bearings here, west to east, the intercardinals become unsafe. It's always perpendicular to where, not perpendicular isn't the right term, but like if he dashes through a cardinal, then all of the intercardinals explode. And then he's about to die. Just like Garuda, we're skipping a whole like 5 or 6 mechanics after this just because we deal so much damage. But that's kind of all the major stuff. Because Ifrit died when he was woken, he leaves his Beyond Limits buff here in the arena, which we are not picking up right away. Oh my god, don't go get it. You don't have time. Get to the edge of the arena as soon as possible, because a new friend joins the fray. It's Titan. Whenever Titan lands in the arena, it does proximity damage, so the further away you are, the less damage it does, which is great, because, oh my god, doesn't ever do a lot of damage. So, right out the gate, I'm main tanking Titan. This is my favorite phase. I love it. It is a fucking nightmare. It is. I don't know why Titan is always the best fight in whatever content he is in. Eden Force Savage was like my favorite fight last year. It was fucking phenomenal. It is my favorite phase here in this fight. He's always got the best theme. It's just always hectic. It's always a disaster. It's always Titan's great. So right out the gate, because I'm main taking Titan, I'm about to slap every defensive I have. So I've hit Camouflage, I've hit Rampart. He immediately opens up with a big raid wide. I'm hitting Nebula. I'm hitting Heart of Stone. My Ninja is about to hit Faint. So, or I don't know if he did. Maybe he forgot to do it on this build. No, there's Faint. So, because right out the gate, Titan opens with, let's see, did I miss it? Let me pull us back real quick. So he does Earth and Fury. I'm slapping every defensive I have because he opens with a big raid wide, and then he opens with Rockbuster, which does 10,000 damage through all the mitigation that I just slapped up. Respectable. And then he does Mountain Buster, which does fucking 36,000 damage through all the mitigation I threw up. I've seen this attack do like 40 to 50,000 damage sometimes. It's ridiculous how hard that attack hits. Then he goes right into Weight of the Land, which is AoE markers on like 4 to 6 random players. I forget the exact number. So you just get out of those, whatever. No big deal. Titan immediately just looks in a random cardinal direction and jumps away. So you have to be really quick to notice, okay, he looked towards B, which means Titan is jumping this way. We all need to go this way. We all need to go towards D. In classic Titan fashion, the arena is becoming smaller. He lands, again, proximity damage. Don't be too close to him. We all want to be as far away as possible. The arena is now smaller. We have less room to work with. He's going into upheaval, so I need to look behind us because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rocks are spawning across the arena from Titan. One of these back 2 is going to be the safe spot. It's either going to be like over here, or it's going to be over here. He's about to knock us all back, so if you look closely, when you see me get up into Titan, I turn, I look, and then I scoot, like, I tap, like, 3 times to the left. Just like, ooh, just a little bit. I just tap myself over just a little tiny bit. And then we all get punted into this safe spot. Because all of these rocks are going to explode. But then also, this safe spot is about to become a lot less safe because another rock is about to get thrown here. So we all want to get out of here as fast as possible because here comes the jankiest mechanic of the entire fight. It's Titan jails. So 3 random players get targeted for jails. Some brain genius figured out that there is a way to use a macro to determine who is getting targeted by these jails and instantly assign markers to those players to tell them where to go stand. I love them because this mechanic would just be a fucking nightmare without it. So, let's see. Who got targeted? Our red mage got targeted for a jail. Our scholar got targeted for a jail, and our machinist got targeted for a jail. So again, the safe spot we were just in is about to get hit by another rock, which is about to explode. At the same time, everyone is getting 3 players are getting targeted for jails. At the same time, Titan is doing landslides, which are just as fast as they've always been. So we get out of this landslide as fast as possible, move back in. So here's the scary thing. I need to talk about landslides real fast. You would think when he does a landslide, you can kind of see like right here to his side. Oh, there's like a little corner here. Like you could probably stand like right here and still be in melee range and still be no. There's also like an invisible circle AoE directly around Titan that makes him melee uptime during landslides is a nightmare. Oh my god. So get out of the way of the landslide. He's gonna do it a second time. As he's doing it a second time, everyone who got targeted for a jail needs to be lined up. The person who got targeted for the jail in back wants to get jailed in the AoE of this last rock that landed, because this last rock is about to explode. When this rock explodes, it's going to break this jail. When this jail breaks, it also explodes, and it's going to break this jail, which is going to break that jail, and it's going to create a daisy chain all the way up to Titan. When they explode, they also leave this fucking patch of sludge that if you stand in, you basically die. So half of the arena is now unsafe. Titan is casting 8 tumults, which do big raid-wide damage. And as long as Titan is standing in the sludge of one of these jails that exploded, he's going to slowly accumulate these stacks of vicariously charged. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. He's woken. Real quick question in chat. How are you supposed to figure out how to position without the macro? Get good. It's just, you have to like... So, you kind of just have to adjust on the fly. The main tank never gets targeted for a jail, so that's the one thing you can control. Beyond that, it's just like... I think only one melee player can get targeted for a jail. So the melee, if it's a tank or a melee, they're going to naturally take the spot that is closest to him. And then it's on the other 2 players to just adjust on the fly. It's a mess. I don't recommend it. Just grab the macro. Grab the macro, press the macro. Problem solved. Everyone does it. It takes the guesswork out. So, Titan's woken. And we're only halfway through him, which is great. Let's see what the fuck Titan Woken does. So, he's about to do Way to Land again, which again targets like 4 or 6 random players. And now he's going to do Woken Landslides, which again are landslides that are just as fast as they've always been. But then the second one has no cast bar, and they instantly go off in the opposite parts that he did not hit. So, the first landslide hit these 5 spots, so the second time he does a landslide, the Woken's landslide, these 5 spots are the safe areas, because the next landslides are about to hit here, 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 and the other spots you can't see on my camera. Woken landslides are super scary because they come out real fast. Again, he looks in a random direction and jumps away. So he looked towards A, which we identified super quick. Move as far away as possible, which is not very far because the arena is very small. He lands. We want to pull him to mid. He targets a random healer for a jail, so that one random healer gets jailed up. We need to bust that jail as fast as possible. If you don't break this jail fast, the jail explodes and we all die. While you're trying to break out the jail, he's going to cast Woken Landslides again. The Woken Landslides don't look bad on video. I cannot explain well enough how scary Woken Landslides are. If you get hit by one, you just die, straight up. If the damage doesn't kill you, it knocks you back into the wall and you die. Then, like, that's all there is to it. Woken Landslides are super scary. He launches into another 6 tumults, and then he's going to do another double tank buster. So everyone gets behind him. He's going to do rock buster into mountain buster. And then we all need to immediately join the tank where she was standing. So he's about to do another Weight of the Land, which again targets 4 to 6 random players. The reason why we all stack together for this is just to keep the Weight of the Land's control. So, like, there isn't, like, one over here, one over here, one over here, like, super limiting where everyone has to move. We want to keep these specific ones very controlled, because as we dodge this one and the next one, he's going to do Woken Landslides again. While these Woken Landslides are going off, Weight of the Land is still going off, and also there's, like, rocks falling around the arena that are all exploding. So, like, there's a lot going on, so you want to keep all that controlled. If we didn't kill him there, he would go into another set of double tank busters, into more tumults. The damage at the end of Titan is absolutely crazy. You can actually see me, like, just for safety's sake, as we dodge these Weight of the Lands, I'm ramping up the defensives for this tank buster just in case I need to, like, actually defend against it, because you don't want to not be ready for it. That's crazy. So, Titan's dead. And we get the third Beyond Limits buff, which is being picked up by a melee. So, we have 3 Beyond Limits buffs. One of them was picked up by the healer, the first one. The second one was picked up by a caster, or red mage. He didn't catch it on camera because we launched immediately into Titan. And then our third Beyond Limits buff is being picked up by our melee player, our ninja. So we have 3 of those. So what this does is 4 proximity markers are appearing around the arena because huge fucking satellite dishes are about to crash into the arena. Boom. And it spawns these Magitech bits. I'm gonna go ahead and just, like, turn off the music. I have no music for this fit. There's, like, a song, I do not know what it's called, that plays here. It only lasts like 40 seconds. I have no idea what it's called. I couldn't find it. I apologize. But these Magitech bits spawn around the entire arena. As you can see, like, we're running around and attacking them. It barely does any damage. They're all casting self-detonate. If these detonate, we all die. So the caster who picked up the Beyond Limits buff casts a caster LB3 and hits all of them to kill them all. Because our caster had a Beyond Limits buff, when they cast a Limit Break 3, we instantly get our Limit Break bar back. That's the Beyond Limits buff. It basically is a free Limit Break 3. After we get through the Magitech bits, La Habrea spawns. La Habrea casts Doom on every player that needs it. The timer on that Doom is like 5 seconds, and you're stunned for most of it. Sorry, 10 seconds. Let's see, yeah, so Doom. Okay, 8 seconds. We get 8 seconds of Doom, which is a status that puts everybody at 1 HP. If you are not fully healed by the end of this status, you die. You're stunned for like 3 seconds of this, so, like, you're not out of the Doom. You have 4 seconds to heal everyone up to full. What do? You heal a Limit Break 3. Classic, easy peasy. Then La Habrea starts casting Dark 4, which is an attack that would kill everybody. He has a very big vulnerability down buff on. He barely takes any damage, basically. So what do? You melee Limit Break 3 him, because you would not be able to kill him in this time. Melee Limit Break 3, he's dead. And then Ultima shows up. He's casting Ultima. Our tank, who does not have a Beyond Limits break, is still able to cast Limit Break 3 because our melee had the buff, which means when he spent the Limit Break, we get it back. So to get through this transitional phase, you need a caster limit break 3, you need a healer limit break 3, you need a melee limit break 3, and you need a tank limit break 3. Oh my god, it's Ultima. Such devastation. So I'm going to turn on some music now because we're back in Ultima territory. And we have our traditional mandatory cutscene. All the woken primals show up, and Ultima consumes all of them for their power. Unlike the Perfect Alex cutscene, you can actually just like move around in this one. I don't know why. So we're all mitigating and healing up because as soon as Ultima starts, he's about to cast. Get this music where it's supposed to be. Here we go. So he casts Tank Purge, which is a heavy-hitting raid-wide. But we mitigated and everything for it, first off. He is casting Homing Lasers. Okay, he already casted Viscous Etheroplasm. So he immediately does like 2 attacks right after Tank Purge that are based on who has aggro. So our warrior wants to take aggro right after Tank Purge because he's about to apply Viscous Etheroplasm onto Tank. This is a debuff that when the debuff goes off, it is an attack that can be soaked by the rest of the party. If you take it alone, you take a bunch of damage. Right after he does a Viscous Etheroplasm, he targets the second player in aggro with Homing Lasers, which is just a heavy-hitting tank buster. Doesn't need to be soaked by anybody. So while our main tank is scooting into the party to share that Viscous with the rest of the party, I'm just getting hit by Homing Lasers. I've mitigated for it. It cleaves, so everyone needs to be away from me or else it does a bunch of damage. That's the intro to Ultima. Easy every time. He's immediately launching into Ultimate Predation. So here's the thing about Ultima. Here's the thing about UWU that I find weirdly more stressful than T. It took me a long time to beat T. It took me a long time to explain T. It took me less time to beat UWU. I find UWU more stressful because in T, once you get through Wormhole, once you get through Alex Prime in Rage, and you get to Perfect Alex, it looks intimidating, but the final phase of T, of Perfect Alex, is honestly not that complicated. It is a lot more do you understand the gimmick than it is raw execution. It's hype as hell. I love it. I would never knock it. I think it's a great way to end the fight. It is not as mentally, as physically demanding as the fight that came before it. Ultima? Not so much. UWU just keeps ramping up in difficulty through the entire fight, except for like the very end of it. So, we're going into Predation. There are 3 points in this fight where Ultima is going to call on the help of every primal. So, he goes away, all 3 primals appear on stage. Garuda is going to appear at a random intercardinal between A and D, between A and B, between D and C, between B and C. Any random intercardinal here. So, y'all remember that iconic, I'm bringing it up. Y'all remember this? This is Ultimate Predation. This is the mechanic we are currently doing right now. I love this image. So, all primals have shown up on the screen. Titan is over here. Garuda's over here. Ifrit's in some corner. You don't care where Ifrit is. Where Ifrit is doesn't really matter. You want to get away from Garuda. So if Garuda is between A and D, that limits the safe areas you can go to B and C. That doesn't mean both of them are safe, because you also want to get away from Titan. So if Titan spawned, let's say, at C, C would be unsafe, so B is the only place you can go to. But in this case, B or C would be safe spots. I do also want to get away from Ultima, though, so I go towards B. I don't want to... This, as much as I love this Ultima theme, I'm going to put on the usual Ultima theme just because I can loop it for longer and not have to listen to, like, the super duper slow build up over and over again. Anyway, so we're going towards B. We want to go right to the edge. So what's going to happen is Garuda casts Wicked Wheel. You can see that AoE, so there's Wicked Wheel. But like I said earlier, all of these primals are woken. So, like, way early in the fight when Garuda did Wicked Wheel, it was just this AoE. But now that she is woken, right after this AoE, she's going to do the donut, which is, like, right around it. It is way too much work to get all the way out here and then all the way back in. So we're going to try to outrange the donut, too. It can be done. It's intimidating. As we're dodging this, landslides go out. These landslides can come in at any fucking angle. It can be like smack dab on you. All you can do is just like get to any edge of it. Like, it doesn't matter what, just get to an edge of it. The closest edge you can without leaving this cardinal. Stay as close to the cardinal as you can, but get out of this landslide. Because Ifrit is about to do a dash. So if I got like super out of the way, I might get hit by that Ifrit dash. So we dodge Wicked Wheel. We dodge the landslide. We dodge this Ifrit dash. But again, it looks like I ran into that landslide, but you guys know how AoE was work in this game. As soon as the marker goes away, you're good to just go stand in it. Don't worry about it. Again, these primals are all woken. So the donut goes off, the afterburn goes off, the second landslide goes off. Tiny, tiny safe spot. So the way it's handled is, again, you identify which cardinal is a safe cardinal that you can go to. If I went here towards B and Ultima was over here, I'm going to want to dodge to the left. I could dodge either side here. But what I'm looking for, as I dodge the landslide and as I dodge the Ifrit dash, you see these markings around the edge of the arena. Counting from the direction you are approaching it in, so either this way or this way, you count 1, 2, 3, 4 runes. This 3 to 4 area is the safe spot. So I dodge right up to this 3rd/4th rune. Some players chose this direction over here because that's just the spot they identified. They went for it. Doesn't matter. Both of those spots are safe. We're safe. Not quite done, because as Garuda jumps away, as Garuda leaves, she shrieks, there's Feather Rain. That's that final gotcha. She casts Feather Rain. You don't want to get hit by that, because it's going to put a heavy dot on you. Ultima spawn. So you might notice at this point, there's actually this meter here in the middle of the screen called Ultima Aether. This is a bar that slowly fills up over time. This bar jumps up if a player dies. If this bar fills up before you reach Enrage, Ultima gains heavy damage up, heavy defense up, and he just wipes the floor with you. So you want to keep this bar as low as possible until you get to Enrage. So Ultima spawns, we bring him still pretty close to mid, but just like a little bit out of middle. We want to make one half of this arena technically further away from the rest. Because Ifrit is going to spawn close to us. So Ifrit's going to spawn here at full north. He's going to cast Eruption, which is again baited by the 2 furthest players, which is going to be our ranged players. So we're going to drag these around the edges of the arena, away from everyone else. Titan is going to spawn either at this it's hard to see. You can see Titan jump down here towards the meat marker. He's either going to jump down here or here. In this case, he jumped here. Because he landed on, in this case, the left. It's so hard to see. Because in this case, he jumped down towards the left. As soon as these radiant plumes go away, these radiant plumes cover the entire outer ring of the arena. We're going to move back, and we're going to move to the left, because Titan spawned to the left. Because after these radiant plumes go away, Ultima is going to cast Landslide as well as Titan. So we have 2 sets of landslides going out at the same time as these bomb boulders are appearing in the middle of the arena. So we want to get so the outer ring of the arena was unsafe. So we want to be in the middle, but then we want to get out of the middle because the middle of the arena is super unsafe as these bomb boulders are going off. Landslide is going off. Ultima is also casting Landslide. Ultima's landslides aren't woken, but Titan's are. So there's a next set of landslides. Oh my god. But we're good. We're out of the middle of the arena. The landslides are done. We're not into the next phase yet. Ultima casts Viscous Etheroplasm. He puts it on me. We're about to do what's called a pro gamer move. He targets me for Viscous Etheroplasm. Titan is doing tumults in the corner of the arena. You can see these big shockwaves coming out. So everyone is taking a bunch of raid-wide damage. No one wants to heal a bunch of raid-wide damage. Plus, Garuda is about to do an AoE attack. Plus, Viscous Etheroplasm. No one wants to heal all of that. Fuck that. Fuck that noise. So I got targeted for Viscous Etheroplasm. The warrior is going to take the boss away from me. Because I'm now number 2 in aggro, Ultima is going to cast Homing Lasers on me. So I am taking Viscous Etheroplasm and Homing Lasers alone in vulnerability. Great. The thing is, like, we have to stay out here in the edges because as Titan is done casting Tumults, it's hard to see from my camera angle. There is a Garuda sister here, just below my party list. Garuda is here in the middle, and there's another Garuda sister here behind Ultima. Both of the Garuda sisters cast the Wicked Wheel. So there's the Wicked Wheel, no AoE marker. There's a Wicked Wheel here, there's a Wicked Wheel here. It doesn't do the donut because the sisters aren't woken. It's just Garuda. Don't sweat it. Garuda is going to do a big raid-wide hit though, but as the sisters jump away, Feather Rain. As Garuda does her big AoE and she jumps away, another Feather Rain. Every time, at Feather Rain. It's easier to pinpoint when you can hear the shrieks. That's not really something I can recreate in this kind of audio setting. If you want to hear the shrieks, go check out my YouTube channel where I uploaded a clear of this fight without my dumb ass talking over it. But all these heavy raid wides and big hits are taken care of. Ultima is now going into Annihilation. This is, in my opinion, the biggest mess of the entire fight. So jails are super clunky. I personally hate the Ifrit tether because it's just stupid and makes no sense. It's just random punishment for punishment's sake. We're about to deal with, in my opinion, the true jankiest mechanic of the entire fight. So, unlike Predation, Ultima is targetable through this entire phase. As soon as this phase starts, Titan targets everybody for Weight of the Land. At the same time, Ifrit targets everyone for Flaming Crush. So we need to dodge these AoEs, but we need to dodge together as a group to make sure we all share this Flaming Crush together. So we're all going to dodge over here. We're all going to dodge this way. As we're dodging back this way, Flaming Crush goes off. A Meso-High tether appears down here. I believe it's Garuda and not his sister putting off this Meso-High tether. If you remember way back from the Garuda phase, this tether can only be taken by someone who has a stack of Thermal Low. That's why we have so many players with Thermal Low. We still have 4 players left with Thermal Low because we need to carry this through the entire fight. The good thing about this debuff is if you have this debuff and you die, you don't lose the debuff. You keep it. That is the only saving grace of this mechanic. So, our Bard is taking this specific one. So our Bard picks up this tether and takes it away from the rest of the party. When this tether goes off, it will do Super Cyclone damage to everybody. Not a whole lot because it's only 1 stack. As we dodge this third Weight of the Land, I'm rolling it back because this phase is a lot to explain. So we dodge 1, we dodge 2. As we're dodging this third one, Ultima, you can't really see it. If you remember Ultima in Praetorium, if you remember Minstrel's Bane or whatever, fucking Ultima's Bane, Minstrel's Ballad, you can sorta kinda see it. We pop it real fast. Ultima is spitting out this green orb. It's right here. You can barely see it. Throughout this entire phase, Ultima is going to spawn 4 green orbs. These orbs need to be soaked. The more players that take this orb, this is a really complex and janky mechanic. It doesn't do less damage the more people who take it, It doesn't do a lot of damage in the first place. You can see it only dealt like 16,000 damage to me. Every time a player gets hit by one of these, the Aether meter goes up. So you want as little people to take this as possible. But the first two, you want at least 2 players for something later in the fight. I'll have to explain it later, but the general idea of what we're doing here in Annihilation, I'm going to turn this music down just like a little bit. The general gist of what we're doing here in Annihilation is we want the first 2 orbs to be taken by 2 players each. Both times it's going to be both tanks. And then the second 2 orbs are only going to be taken by 1 player. Because again, we want this meter to jump up as little as possible. So the less people that can take these, the better. So our main tank, our warrior, is going to be dealing with the last 2 orbs. So me and the main tank share this first orb. Everyone else dodges this way to the land off to the side. The Meso High Tether goes off. There's a Super Cyclone. There's a set of Feather Rain as Garuda leaves. Maybe it's a sister. I forget who. Don't stress it. There's a Feather Rain. But there's a second tether that's about to go out. This tether needs to be taken by one of the healers. This is why we have both healers have a stack of Thermal Low, because it's random. Because Ifrit has cast Searing Wind on one of the random healers, which again is the debuff that causes that healer to explode. So that healer is going to take their Searing Wind debuff all the way over here, and they're going to take the Meso High Tether at the same time. So as we dodge his Feather Rain, me and the main tank come back in. We share the second orb. Everyone goes behind Ultima, except for the healer who's across the arena exploding. As we get behind Ultima, there is a Titan landslide going off. There's an Ifrit charge going off. You can see it right here cutting through Ultima. So there's an Ifrit charge. There was Titan landslides. Guess what? They're still awoken. So very soon, this is going to be the Ifrit Afterburn, and this area that was hit by a landslide is now safe, while this area is no longer safe. So we need to get into where that landslide was, and we need to like move out to an inner cardinal because this Afterburner is fucking huge, but we don't want to stay outside too long because now there's this blue big donut around the arena. It's something I didn't explain in so let's see, we're at 1209. Let me just roll this back real quick to Garuda Sister Songs. So the sisters are casting their songs. There's this big blue donut around the arena. If you stand in this big blue donut, you take damage and you get punted, like you get kicked back towards the middle of the arena, which is very bad when so much of the middle of the arena is unsafe here. So, several of us are running to the back of Ultima, dodging the Ifrit dash, dodging the Titan landslide, and then dodging the Woken versions of those. We want to like get out of the outside of the arena as fast as possible. At this point, our White Mage died. I'm not sure why. I think they just got hit by the Ifrit Afterburn because they just didn't get out fast enough. We all want to stack right here because we don't want to get hit by this orb explosion, because again, our main tank is taking 2 more orbs alone. So we just stand here. Ultima is casting a Tank Purge AoE. The next Meso High Tether already went off. Garuda left. Feather Rain goes off. I got hit by it, apparently. I got hit by Windburn. I didn't get out of it fast enough, but thankfully I have tank privilege, so I literally don't care. I take so little damage from this damage over time that it doesn't matter. So way back here is our Scholar. He's still exploding, so he stays out there a little bit longer. At this point, if you watch the video of this without me talking over it, you're going to hear us going like, hold DPS, because as you can see, Ultima is already at 51% HP. At this point in the fight, if we push Ultima to 50%, he's immediately going to skip like 7 mechanics and go right into suppression. We want to leave them alive just a little bit longer because we are running into issues where directly after suppression, you need to have tank limit break 3. If you don't, you wipe. And we just did not have enough meter because we were doing so much damage, we're burning through them too fast. So at this point in the fight, a lot of us just stop attacking, and we just let the limit break meter just tick up just a little bit longer. Just tick up just a tiny, teensy little bit longer, thanks to heals and natural generation. This whole time, there's this like blue donut on the edge of the arena, which you want to get into because now the middle of the arena is unsafe. When this radiant plume goes off, this is when it's safe to start attacking him again in our eyes. We just skipped a whole bunch of mechanics. Right after this, he would have done a tank buster. He would have done Vulcan burst, which can kick people into the wall of the arena, but we skip all that because who cares? We do enough damage. So now he's going into suppression, which is the third ultimate phase, where he is again untargetable. So, oh my god, suppression. Titan shows up down here, always down here in the bottom left. Ifrit always shows up in the bottom right. You can't see him. A Garuda sister shows up here. A Garuda sister shows up here. Ultima shows up here. Garuda shows up here. So what's going to happen is both tanks just move down here. Tanks have the easiest job here. Everybody else goes and lines up along the edge of the arena because they're about to get targeted by random mechanics and they need to identify what they're getting targeted by. So, like, 3 players get targeted for eruption. In this case, it looks like it was our machinist, it looks like our ninja, it looks like our astrologian, I guess. So those 3 players get targeted for eruptions. They're about to get targeted for like 3 sets of them. So everyone scoots a bit closer to middle. Because now that they know who has eruptions, they're all going to like drag them through middle. They don't want to bring them up here. They don't want to bring them down here. If they put them on the tanks, I would literally just like kick them out of the static. Get out of here. Because we need this space. Don't bring your eruptions down here. At the same time, 2 random players are getting targeted for Mistral Song, which is the attack that the sisters are doing, which is again the attack that needs to be intercepted by the tanks. So while the eruption players are running down this way diagonally, 2 Mistral Song players are going to come hide behind our big burly tanks. 1 final player is targeted for... Oh, no, wait. Okay, 1 player gets jails. Because of course they do. 1 player, random player gets jailed. And then I'm going to be honest... Oh my god. Alright, so... There's a lot going on in this phase. Let me... Hold on. I need to, real quick, light killer. Okay, cool. So there's... So there was eruptions, there was Mistral Song, there's a jail. Whatever random player was not targeted by any of this gets targeted for a mechanic that I honestly have no idea what it does until right now because I looked it up because it's not something I literally ever have to deal with. It's called Light Pillar. It's something that's gonna just... It's a pillar that's going to target them as they move around the arena, and you just don't want to be in it. So they're going to drag the light pillar away from the rest of the party, I guess. I've literally never seen it. Don't ask me about light pillar. I don't have to deal with it. As these eruptions and jails and Mistral Songs are going off, Garuda is doing this big-ass AoE, so we don't want to be in this entire quadrant that is a death zone. Mistral Song is going off, so... because there was 2 Mistral Songs, our warrior is intercepting this sister, whoosh. I'm intercepting this sister, whoosh. But again, whenever someone intercepts a Mistral Song, that's going to put a tornado there. So as soon as this AoE goes off, as soon as the Mistral Songs go off, as soon as we dodge the eruptions, we wait for a second, because as those sisters leave, there's a feather rain. A tornado is showing up where we just were, 2 tornadoes. We're moving in to break this jail, because if this jail is not broken fast enough, it's going to explode and kill everybody. Ultima is casting that classic hand beam that he does in Praetorium. You can kind of see it as he does it here. There it is. So Ultima's casting that. There's the light pillar, I think, right over here. Let's say that's the light pillar. Yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah. I see it. I finally see the light pillar. It looks like it was targeting our red mage. So as our red mage runs around the arena, the light pillar... Okay, I've literally never noticed the light pillar before. I was never looking for it. It's not something I ever had to worry about. We're learning together, folks. There's the light pillar. Everyone stacks on B. We all stack on B so we can bait this landslide to target us. Because at the same time, we're going to get targeted for Flaming Crush. Oh my god, because of course we are. As Titan is targeting us for landslide, Ifrit is targeting us for Flaming Crush. Garuda has one final Messile High tether, which is going to be taken by the tank, who still has a thermal low tether. She takes it away from the rest of the party. All of us dodge out of that landslide and then just back onto that marker because this area is safe now. We share this Flaming Crush. Bing, bang, boom. We wait a sec because as Garuda leaves, Feather Rain. There's so many Feather Rains in fucking Ultima. And then Ultima does Tank Purge again, so big raid wide. We have LB3 because now as Ultima comes back, it's, oh my god, he's casting Ultima again. Because of course he is. We need to tank LB3 to survive this. Now we're going into Etheric Boom. I hate this phase. So, Etheric Boom is fucking janky and weird. So, the orbs during Annihilation that I was talking about earlier, we want as little people to take it as possible, but we need at least 2 people to take the first 2. It determines how this phase is going to work. Trying to think of how best to explain it. So the one thing I didn't really complain about in Annihilation was those orbs actually have super fucked up and janky hitboxes, so it's very possible to just walk into the orb and have it not explode. So that's great, but we handled it correctly in this pull. When Etheric Boom goes off, we need a bunch of heavy raid-wide mitigation, so I cast Tank LB1 just because we have it and we're gonna need it. All of the party is stacked up over here, except for the 2 tanks who are stacked up over here, because when Etheric Boom goes off, everyone gets knocked away, and then orbs show up in the 4 intercardinals of the arena. The tethers between the orbs are determined by how many people took the orbs in Annihilation. So because 2 players took the first orb in Annihilation, this tether is a little bit longer. Because 2 players took the second orb in Annihilation, this tether is a little bit longer. Because only 1 player took the 3rd and 4th orbs, these ones are super short. If these orbs touch each other, because the tethers are slowly pulling those orbs together. If these orbs touch each other, they explode, you die. So you don't have a lot of time to just eat these orbs. These orb explosions are shared by the amount of players who are taking it. So the 2 tanks are taking these ones solo with a bunch of mitigation. So we're taking these orbs together with a bunch of mitigation. This is being shared by 2 players and a ton of mitigation. These ones are being shared by 6 players and a little bit less mitigation, but as much mitigation as we can share. As soon as those orbs are soaked, we immediately run up to these ones and share those ones. That's Etheric Boom. It does way more damage than it seems. It's actually very stressful. It's very possible to just die there. This is finally the part of the fight where it like relents. In my opinion, this fight has just been constant uphill battle, and this is the only part of the fight that feels like sort of a break. We're entering what is affectionately known as Primal Roulette. So we all stack here at True North. All of the primals are about to make one final entrance each, but very individual. So, Ultima does fucking, what was that, another tank purge? No. It's not a tank purge. He just puts Viscous Aetheroplasm on 3 players. So we want to stay stacked up through this mechanic as much as possible, because when this Viscous Aetheroplasm goes off, we want it to be shared with the party. They have 3 separate intervals, so it's basically at the end of each primal phase, it goes off. So by the time the phase ends, we want to be sure to stack up together. So who's going to be the first primal? Let's find out. I forget. It was Ifrit. So Ifrit shows up in the middle of the arena. as well as 2 Ifrit clones. The Ifrit clones always show up at cardinals. In this case, it doesn't matter. Because if it can be south or north or east or west, they're always going to charge through the cardinals, which means the cardinals are just unsafe. So we need to get out of the cardinals fast, but we need to wait a little second because eruptions. Ifrit proper baits targets 2 random players for eruptions. We get out of that as the charges go off, and then we just stack together and we wait. Ifrit's going to do a raid wide, I think, probably. They usually do. Yeah, there it is. Ifrit does a raid wide as Viscous Etheroplasm goes off. So, the order of the primals is technically random. The first one is always random. It can be Ifrit, it can be Titan, or it can be Garuda. It doesn't matter. It'll be random. However, whichever one spawns first dictates the order of the rest of them. So in this case, the order is always going to be Ifrit, Garuda, Titan. Because if Ifrit spawns first, it's always Garuda second, it's always Titan third. The orders in this are, because I memorized, I just want to brag, it's Ifrit, Garuda, Titan, it's Titan, Ifrit, Garuda, it's Garuda, Ifrit, Titan. Those are the 3 orders it can possibly be. So because Ifrit was first, Garuda is second. The way Garuda works is we all go to north of A, because Garuda is going to show up. She's going to do Wicked Wheel. Not intimidating. But we all dodge into it as fast as possible because Wicked Wheel has to follow up because she's woken. And then we just sit here and we wait. She's going to do a raid wide. And then, as she jumps away, Feather Rain. Which you can't see because we've gotten out of it and my camera doesn't see it anymore. We need to get into north as fast as possible because Titan is showing up. And when Titan shows up, he targets random players for not landslides, weight of the land. Which we need to dodge as a group. We need to dodge these as a group. We need to dodge these as a group. And then he's doing fucking a raid wide attack. As Viscous Etheroplasm goes off, he does it with Fury. So there's a lot of team-wide mitigation going out through each primal phase because there's just a lot of raid-wide damage going out between the Viscous Etheroplasms, between the raid-wides that hit everybody. It's honestly kind of a lot, but it's still technically the easiest part of Ultima. And we're in Enrage. Ultima begins as Enrage charge up. If the Ultima meter was not full and now starts charging up at ultra speed. This is why you want to keep it as low as possible to keep him charging it up as much as possible. Because the longer he has to charge it up, the longer you just get a bunch of free damage in on him. When the bar finally fills up, he'll start deleting players one by one in order of who has the lowest DPS. So generally, it's the healers first. Sorry, healers. So, yep, there goes our scholar. He gets scooped up and then just erased from the video game. Our white mage got picked up, but we killed Ultima before he could get erased. That's Ultima Weapon Ultimate. It's, oh my god. Honestly, in my opinion, it's just more stressful than T, just because it's just a constant ramp up. It's really complex in the sense that there's not a lot of parts of T where the bosses are constantly leaving and coming back. Like, when Living Liquid spawns, he's just there for the whole phase. When Brute Justice and Cruise Chaser spawn, they're there for the whole phase. Alex Prime is the only part that, like, has a lot of constantly leaving and coming back. No one needs to see that. Let me let me just bullshit for a little while longer. Alex Prime is the only, like, part of T where, like, he leaves and he comes back. But it's like 30-second chunks that you can plan around. Every boss in UWU just constantly leaves, constantly comes back. It's just constantly breaking up your rotation. Gunbreaker in particular was a nightmare to prog on just because, like, my rotation does not work in the chunks that the bosses are available. So it's just like a huge learning curve for me to figure out how to make this class work in that fight. This class was not designed with UWU in mind. UWU is not designed with Gunbreakers in mind because they came out in different expansions. So it was a very complex fight to learn my rotation around. It was a very stressful fight to learn from the sense that it is just constantly ramping up in difficulty. It never lets up. You can just die at any point. Thankfully, because you out-damage this fight so hard now, and you just push through mechanics like it's nothing, deaths are not as unforgiving. We had a player die in that pull, and we revived him, and it was fine, and we still cleared Enrage pretty handily. You can die in UWU, and it's honestly fine. But you will probably die because this fight just does not let up. I don't know. That's my opinion. And also, it's just stressful from the fact that I was doing this with like 5, sort of 6 players who had done it all before. And I was like one of the only people who didn't know what he was doing. And I'm like, oh my god. I need to learn this fast so I'm not holding everyone back. That's UWU. Yep. We are going for the triple. 2 of us already have the UCOB clear. They got it very recently because they were part of 2 statics, which is ending very soon. They were just invited, and they've been doing 6 raid nights a week, and they're fucking exhausted and tired, and I wouldn't recommend it. Personally, I'm going to try to push for not have members of the static do 2 statics at the same time, because it was kind of brutal on them and made our schedules very hard to work around, and I didn't like it. But thanks to a couple players having done UCOB outside of us, we're going to have some advanced knowledge. We have 2 people who have already cleared it before. We start it tomorrow, actually. I need to study. Oh my god, I haven't actually looked at it yet. Fuck. I need to study. But yeah, the goal is before 5.4, which is hopefully in like 3 to 4 months. We'll all be triple legends. If we can just, like, I don't know, take a goddamn break or something. No, I won't. I'll find some stupid bullshit to get good. I'm gonna go learn how to play Mahjong.